It's Fully Threaded Radio, episode 205, part 2.
Did you ever make it to any of the legendary Star Stainless parties?
Yes, I did. It's been a while, but I sure did.
They've never invited me to those.
Well, gosh, TJ, when you came around, though, when did they stop doing those?
It's time for Fully Threaded Radio.
Hey everyone, Eric Dudas with you again. It's Fully Threaded Radio, voice of the FCH Sourcing Network. This is episode 205, part 2. If you checked out the last one, you know that we've compressed the format a little bit. We're doing some experimentation. So as promised, here's the second half. Coming to you this time, October 30th, 2024. Tight episode once again. It's a conversation with Joe Morris of the Fastener Training Institute and Desert Distribution, along with her buddy, TJ McFarland with Brikksen. They're two fastener folks I've had a lot of fun with over the last 12 months. Well, in general, since I've been around in this business. And I think you'll enjoy this conversation if you need to pull away from all the serious subject matter that's out there in the world these days. Also on today's episode, it's the Fastener Training Minute. Carmen Vertullo brings us his take on thread stripping. It's kind of a universal headache in the fastening world. Carmen will point out the causes, ways to detect it, and ways to prevent it. It's the Fastener Training Minute. We couldn't bring you the podcast without the great support of our partners, and the title sponsors of Fully Threaded Radio are Star Stainless, Global Fasteners, and Brighton Best International. Fully Threaded is also sponsored by Buckeye Fasteners, BTM Manufacturing, Eurolink Fastener Supply Service, Fastener Technology International, InSequel Software, J. Lanfranco, Solution Industries, 3Q Inc., Volt Industrial Plastics, and Worth Industry North America. Love to hear what you think of the podcast, folks. Let us know. The email address is ftr@fullythreaded.com. And if you have any ideas for the new format, throw those along too. Thanks so much in advance. And thanks for clicking into Fully Threaded Radio. We're doing so much behind the scenes here at FCH, trying to get everything ready for the new release. Brian's full-time on that. He won't be on today's episode, actually at all. But there won't be much of just me either. We're going to get to a quick break and then come back with this conversation with Joe and TJ. Talk to you in just a moment. It's Fully Threaded.
Brikksen Best International introduces our premium hose clamp line. Crafted from durable 304, 430, and 316 stainless steel. These clamps are perfect for corrosive environments, ensuring leak-free connections. The zinc-plated screw ensures a secure fit, and the worm gear design ensures easy installation. Ideal for plumbing repairs and marine applications. And for heavy-duty jobs, choose our carbon steel clamps. They're tough, reliable, and built to last. Our hose clamps have you covered. Visit our BBI website or call our experts today, helping our distributors clamp it, seal it, and get back to what matters.
Cut the no quotes out of the equation. Eurolink is your go-to resource for uncommon and hard-to-find metric fasteners that others can't even quote. Contact the sales team at EurolinkFSS.com and get your hard-to-find metric fasteners delivered.
This is Jason Baines of J. Lanfranco Fasteners, and you're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
Well, in the pursuit of avoiding any of the serious subjects that are so abundant in the world today, the fastener world and otherwise, I decided to try and just lighten things up, have a little fun. There's two fastener folks I think of when I think of fun and fastener good times. They're with me now. Joe and TJ, how are you?
Outstanding.
I'm honored that we're on the list. TJ, you should be too, that we're on the fun list.
Yeah, I know. I try to have fun everywhere I go.
And for folks who haven't been in the fastener industry very long. That's Joe Morris of the Fastener Training Institute and Desert Distribution, TJ McFarland with Brikksen. So, guys, we ran into each other quite a bit during the last 12 months of fastener events, didn't we? And most recently, I guess it was Vegas.
Yeah.
Yep. Vegas it was.
But not at any of the big parties there. We didn't attend those, or we just didn't see each other. We saw each other a lot, but not at the parties.
Oh, you didn't see me at the pool party?
How could you miss TJ's blazer?
Well, because I wasn't there.
No,
Ah.
really? Okay. Well,
Okay.
I saw TJ with the signature several times with at least 3 signature Brikksen cocktails in his hand. One was typically for his wife. One was typically for me. And I guess one would have been for you, but sporting the blazer.
The Astros blazer.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And unfortunately, they met their demise yesterday for the season. So Detroit put them out. So that's okay, though. AJ Hinch is the coach of that team, and that was their coach back in the day when they were cheating. So they probably cheated.
Well, it was still a pretty exciting season for you guys down there. Now, contrasting that, I sent my congratulations off to Bob GQ Bear on the new record that the Chicago White Sox hit at the close of the season. I don't know if you guys caught that.
Was it a good record or a bad record?
Well, depends on, I guess, if you're a Sox fan or not. Speaking as a Cubs fan, the Sox hitting 141 losses, which is the record after 62 years previously held by the Mets, made me smile.
Oh,
That's pretty impressive.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw that headline. I couldn't resist.
Wow, that's good.
So what did you think of this year's Vegas overall? I mean, we talked about it, as the title said, wall to wall last episode, but very quickly, what was your take, Joe?
I thought it was great. I mean, I got more out of this year than I did than last year. And every year I think it's great, but day one of the show, I couldn't make it through the aisles, which was a testament to the people that were there. I know that I've heard a lot of mixed feelings about less exhibitors. I felt like there was a great buzz on the show floor both days, but especially day one. And I thought that the festivities, I liked that there was a little bit fewer people at the pool party. And I felt like there were circles of people that we all kind of knew where everyone was going after hours as well. You know, you have your group that goes to the bar, and then you have your group that goes to the top of the restaurant, and then you have the group that goes to Carnival, you know, so you kind of knew your way around and you were always running into people. So I thought it was productive. It was really good for us, for me personally.
You didn't go to that party at the top of the Mandalay, though, did you?
I did not. No, I had dinner up there the night before with a supplier and a customer. I did not do the after hours party gig on, I guess that was day one of the show. Honestly, I don't know anyone that did. I take that back. I know one person that did, and I talked to her afterwards. That was Madison from Allied Titanium. And other than that, no, I guess because I'm old, you know, my group stayed. We didn't venture out to the after hours. My group stayed closer to the casino, I guess. My age group.
Yeah, well, I was hanging out with you and Johnny Reno for part of that time. I remember texting somebody who was up there and saying, "Hey, we're going to head up. Where is it?" And they said, "Well, it's a little loud. We're coming down right now." We all looked at each other and said,
Yeah. I think it's a good idea. I mean, I put it this way. I think it's great to try new things. You know, if you don't push the envelope or try something, and they're always trying to attract a new age group and new blood to the show. So I don't know what the feedback, if it's a do-over, but I like the idea of trying something new.
Yeah.
We need to hear from the YFP on this, I think. You know,
I think you're right.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Joe. You're one of these people who's locked in time. I mean, your age is static. You haven't changed since I first met you. And I can't say that for everybody, TJ, but
Yeah.
Joe falls into that category, you know. But the YFP, I think they should bring something to the table with this and let us know, you know, what needs to be done in the party area.
It's probably not a bad idea.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, we need to you need to interview somebody, Eric, who actually did attend it and find out would they do it again? Did they meet anybody? Maybe they need some old folks up there with them, showing them the ropes,
Did you ever make it to any of the legendary Star Stainless parties?
Yes, I did. It's been a while, but I sure did.
They've never invited me to those.
Well, gosh, TJ, when you came around though, when did they stop doing those?
I don't know, probably before my time.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's before you got to Brikksen, TJ. There's other reasons you weren't invited. Same reason I wasn't invited either, although I lobbied hard for it.
Eric, you've never been?
Never got in.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was not a high enough member of the Threaderati to achieve that, but I sure have heard a lot of stories over the years about the good times. I know Bruce Wheeler and his wife put so much energy and love and attention into building that thing, and the music was carefully selected. Of course, he shipped in musicians from all over the place for that annual event, and it's legendary.
Russ Dorn and I, we were involved with Pac West on, we were building it was a member benefit, and we were building some videos on just pearls of wisdom, and we were interviewing people across different arms of our industry on pearls of wisdom, on sales, on anything. We had specific topics: procurement, supply chain, blah blah blah. So Russ and I were at the Pac West conference in Denver a handful of years ago. Was at Brand Palace. I think you were there, TJ. And we interviewed Bruce, and I don't remember what the question was. I think the question was something very, structured and simple. And it ended up morphing into like a 45-minute interview on my cell phone. And he expanded about how the Vegas party started and just how it grew and how they would, I never knew all the efforts and all the levels of, they had the real deal. The entertainment was top notch. And it was top notch I think I've only gone to 2, maybe 3 of them, and it was years ago. And I can't say anything negative about it, but I never really paid attention to really the music and the food. And this was a full-time job for them, preparing for it every year. So Pac West has that interview, and it's a great interview. I don't have it anymore. We should talk to Brian Wheeler, but it was
Joe. As you're telling this story, I'm remembering you told me about this in Vegas.
Yeah.
And we were going to try and chase that down. I would love to put that out on the podcast. That deserves to be presented.
It does. And, I don't have it anymore, but so we need to reach out to a few people because it does exist. And Russ and I just sat there listening, and it was just fun hearing about it. And so we do need to find that interview, Eric. I will put you in touch with some people that we can, I think, resurrect that for you.
Maybe Vicky knows.
I think Vicky does know.
Okay.
You got to get to her.
We'll look at that.
Yeah. Or what we need to do is come up with the next best great event for our fast. Oh, you know what it could be is the Brisket Fest.
Ooh.
We'll be interviewing you on how that came to be.
That was kind of fun last year, wasn't it?
It was. That was a good time.
I'm glad both of you were in attendance, that's for sure. And you were actually a contestant, we shouldn't say contestant. You were a pit master, TJ.
Yeah. But I didn't do brisket. I did ribs. They turned out pretty good, I think.
I thought it was all really good. When did you start the ribs? Were you one of the ones that started like 12 hours? Was that a 12-hour?
No. It was, 5 or 6 hours, I think, prior.
Yeah, the first one to get his pit lit was Rob within Sequel. He was dead serious. He hoofed all his own gear down from Michigan. This took place right outside of Cleveland in semi-rural Northeast Ohio, of course, at Shagbark. And Rob brought all his gear down, set up and he got there at 1 in the morning the night before, set up all his stuff at 7 the next morning, had the smoke billowing out, and he set up his hammock and promptly took a nap under one of my trees in his hammock and just let that baby cook. It was great. It was low and slow the way it should be. Carmen was another one of the pit masters. He had a different approach. His was kind of a last-minute brisket. But mine was right in the middle, and I think they all turned out right. I think you're right, Joe, but everyone had fun. And, man, the side dishes that showed up that I didn't expect. Did we have a spread or what?
Yeah, it was phenomenal. That was good.
Great.
That was fun.
Even the Frisbee golf was amazing, which I had never played before. And I didn't really play much there, but I did get to watch some people fall down throwing a Frisbee, which I thought was...
Yeah, who was our winner? Was that Vince?
It was Vince. Yeah.
Vince DeMora from Worth was the overall champ. And
Yeah.
he was, I think, as shocked as everyone else that he took home. And it was a pretty nice pot, too.
Yes, I'm saying who knew? That was fun. That was a highlight.
Of course, we split that pot, and half of it went to the Sleep in Heavenly Peace charity. So the Fastener Disc Association should feel pretty proud about all that. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. And of course, that led into that whole week of fun that we had, because the next day was the NCFA event, and that rolled right into Fastener Fair and all that. And we just keep going from one thing to another. I mean, see, that's why I invited you guys on, because I always associate you with fun.
Yeah, with partying. So this year, so that's right. That was part of NCFA. The boat trip I thought was great.
It was phenomenal. That was really good. The weather was perfect.
That was almost, I don't want to say this out loud, that was almost better than the show. I mean, and the show was great. But the networking, I mean, you're there with everybody on the boat. You could talk to people, it wasn't too loud, and every corner you ran into someone. That was just a great idea. Kudos to anybody who thought of that, to the crew that.
Yeah, that was a good job. And then somebody drove the boat. Who was that? Oh, that was it's
Dan.
leaving me now. Dan. Yeah, that was him. Yep. I looked up there. I wanted to walk up there too, but there was a German Shepherd, and he looked at me, and I looked at him, and I was like, nope, not going. And then I looked around the corner, and I saw Dan up there with his, Gilligan hat on, just driving away. And I thought, well, if he can get up there, I could definitely get up there. But I guess I started talking to someone else.
You didn't have the right outfit on.
No, I didn't.
Well, anyone who knows Dan Duffield knows he's a hardcore fisherman. He fishes St. Clair on a regular basis. And, of course, he's a tournament ice fisherman as well.
Did not know that.
Well, that's his thing. He's just into it. And I'm telling you, he's a serious dude when it comes to all that. Before I even knew that he was going to be piloting the boat, and I don't know how long he did that or how he achieved that, but I made sure that I checked with the management to see if we couldn't run a few trolling rods off the back. I thought it would be great if we had a fishing derby during the whole thing, raise a few dollars, for the bed build and everything.
Oh, yeah, that'd been a great idea.
It would have been great.
They shot you down?
Are you kidding?
They wouldn't let you do that?
The fun police were out.
That's one cool thing about you and a chunk of people in our industry, always thinking, how can we give back to our charities? So what's our next opportunity?
Well, this year I think we should make a bigger deal out of the, this is just my one humble idea, nothing too big, but I excel at activities that make zero extra revenue for the business, but are fun to do and sometimes provide a good source for charities. And we should do the team disc event, rather than have it individual.
Yeah.
Because that'll chew up way more time.
Yeah.
And this year when we do it, I should say in advance of this, so the NCFA announced this year's upcoming Distributor Social, which is their flagship event, always a lot of fun. Last year it was the boat. This year it's going back to the conventional meeting at the hotel on a Thursday. So we're doing Brisket Fest the following day on a Friday. So the social's on May 8th. Brisket Fest will be on the 9th. So we'll have a whole day to be low and slow and to throw those discs and maybe raise some money. What do you guys think of that idea?
That's a great idea. Maybe you can do it like by company, even if we can get it out there early enough.
Yeah, I love that. I typically try and schedule Fastener Training Week in conjunction with the social. And I, love to have NCFA host it for us. So maybe we can coordinate having Fastener Training Week in the same week at the same time. But then that means I would miss part of Brisket Fest.
Ooh.
Well, you got to make some sacrifices, Joe.
Yeah, you go teach, do something else. I just like the idea of having a bunch of industry events in one location, in one, just another opportunity to pull us all together.
Yeah, it allows more people to attend, I think, too. When you have more stuff like that, they can justify, the multiple social events, too. It helps them get in touch with other people that they don't get to see as often. So,
yeah, that's a good point. So what happens weather-wise, Eric, back there then?
Well, you roll the dice is what happens. I think the social's happening, I think it's a week or two earlier than it usually happens. I got that feeling. I'd have to really look in history and see to confirm that, but it feels like it's a little earlier than usual. And it can be nice. It can be really crummy. You don't know. You got to roll the dice and see. I'll have the tent again. And of course, if all else fails, we can stand around the warmth of the pits.
Well, I'm just going to roll with it. It was great last time, so it'll be great this time, no matter if it's cool or not. It'll be a different experience, I guess. If it's cold, for the next one, maybe it'd just be a different experience. Instead of it being so nice and warm, maybe we can make snowballs instead of throwing Frisbees,
That's right. We'll make the best of it.
We'll figure it out, yeah.
I do like the idea of the fire pits.
It's going to be great, Joe. The last year was just a warm-up.
Yeah.
And you're on the A list, so I'll keep you posted.
Oh, gosh, thanks.
There's a lot more with our friends Joe and TJ coming up after the Fastener Training Minute. Thanks for listening, everyone. It's Fully Threaded.
Since 1905, Buckeye Fasteners and the Ohio Nut and Bolt Company have been supplying the world with high-quality fasteners. Our standard product lines include weld fasteners, braided weld screws, leg levelers, self-clinching hardware, clevis pins, rivet nuts, and various other fastener lines, allowing us to support virtually all types of industries. BuckeyeFasteners.com. Buckeye Fasteners, more than just weld.
Well, hello, everyone. This is Carmen Vertullo with the Fastener Training Minute, coming to you from the Fastener Training Institute and Carver Labs in beautiful El Cajon, California. Today's topic comes, as usual, from a person who sent me a question and some pictures. And it's not the first time we have discussed this topic on Fully Threaded Radio. I'm sure it may not even be the second time. We may have done it several times. But each time it comes up, there's a different reason, and it is a very important topic and worth redoing. And the topic is thread stripping. What causes it, how to prevent it, how to detect it, and so on. It is, as a matter of fact, one of the more common fastener failures that we see, thread stripping. So when we come back, I'll tell you how to prevent it, how to detect it, and maybe a little bit about how to solve the problem when it occurs.
At Worth, status quo isn't an option. Worth is a global supply chain solutions provider of fasteners, MRO, and safety products, along with value-added services like kitting and assembly, 3D printing, and engineering assistance. Find out what Worth can do for you at worthindustry.com.
Quality products, quality service, quality customers. That's 3Q Inc., a fastener distributor unlike any you've worked with before. With its unique remote managed inventory stocking programs, wide array of secondary service offerings, and wholly owned cold forming capability, 3Q Inc. has been supporting fastener distributors since 2008. 3Q offers a wide range of 100% American-made fasteners, including ITW SEMS lock washers, as well as specialty and imported parts. Give 3Q a call today to discuss your needs and experience 3Q quality for yourself. 3Q Inc. www.3q-inc.com.
Well, welcome back, everyone. This is Carmen Vertullo with the Fastener Training Minute, and today we are talking about thread stripping. Anyone who has ever assembled anything, a bicycle, a car, a piece of equipment, or done much wrenching around, sooner or later you end up with a thread stripping problem. Now, typically, properly made fasteners, properly assembled, should never strip. We should not see that. And when we do see it, there's always a reason for it. So we want to detect the reason. And more importantly, one of the things about thread stripping that makes it kind of insidious is it may go undetected. In other words, you may think you're tightening your fastener, but the torque would be going into stripping the thread, and you really don't have a very reliable joint. So when thread stripping occurs, we want to know it. Well, what's the first most common cause of thread stripping? The first most common cause is we simply cross-threaded the nut when we put it on the bolt, or we cross-threaded the bolt into the hole. Now, this is not that easy to do. You can do it on purpose if you try, But if it happens, it generally is going to result in an awful lot of excessive torque, and you would know it, but not always, especially if you're using some kind of a power tool or an impact wrench. And it usually occurs more often with fine threaded fasteners than coarse threaded fasteners, either inch or metric. So that's one reason to avoid fine threaded fasteners whenever we can. So that's the most common cause, is we simply had a mechanic who put the screw in sideways, and that can happen. Another very common cause is also called galling. Galling has to do with stainless steel fasteners, and that's a completely different topic. But in fact, when galling occurs, that's exactly what we get. We get thread stripping. The threads of the nut smear onto the threads of the bolt, and they kind of become one. And this also can go undetected until such time as you try to disassemble the fastener. So if we suspect thread stripping in any fashion, either by galling or otherwise, one of the things we can do is simply try to disassemble the joint and make sure it will come apart and go back together again. I'll step outside the training minute for a second and give you a quick story from my distant past. In the 1980s, I was building test equipment for the Tomahawk cruise missile, designed by some engineers at General Dynamics. I later got to redesign it and much improve it, but that's another story. And this particular part of the equipment was a thing that slapped onto the tail cone of the cruise missile. It was shaped like an X, and its job was to detect the deployment of the tail fins as they were executed with high-pressure helium from the missile body. They were supposed to deploy in less than a half a second or something like that. And so this engineer designs this thing that is basically a plug that goes into the tail cone. It's about 10 inches in diameter, with these long standoffs to get behind the tail fins, and they were about 2 feet long, with some tubes, and then this X-shaped thing with these visual detectors on it. And he said, put this together with these 3/4 inch by 24-inch long socket head cap screws made out of stainless steel. And there were only 4 of them, and we're only making 2 of these things. There's no such animal as that off the shelf. So first I had to have them specially made. That took a while. Come in, put them together with nylon insert lock nuts. We get the first one on. It stops. It won't go any further. It galled. We could not get it apart. We had to destroy the unit in order to get it apart, because this socket head was in a counterbore and the nylon insert lock nuts were down inside of a channel. It was my first experience with thread galling and thread stripping, and it was horrible. To make matters worse, here's another, just a design thing you might want to think about if you're an engineer. There was no need for us to use socket head cap screws on this. We could have easily just used threaded rod with nuts on either end. There was also no need for it to be stainless steel. So I'll get back to the training minute here where we talk about thread stripping. So another cause of thread stripping could be over-tightening. Typically, if we over-tighten the fastener, we expect it to break because we want the nut to be stronger than the bolt, and the bolt will break and we'll know that we had that condition. But that's no guarantee, because even though the nut should have a proof load greater than the tensile strength of the bolt, that doesn't mean that the nut proof load can't be on the low end, because we don't really know where it is exactly. We just know it's better than some number, and that the bolt might not be excessively strong. So we have an excessively strong bolt, a nut that just barely passes the proof load, then we can end up with thread stripping by over tightening, which usually comes because we've done something unaware, such as add a lubricant to the threads, causing the K factor to go down, causing us to get way more tension for a given amount of torque. So be aware of that. Another cause of thread stripping is because we may have a dimensional issue with the fasteners. Now, this occurs sometimes with structural bolts because we use over-tapped nuts with hot-dip galvanized A325 structural bolts because we need to accommodate that thick coating that's on the bolts. This almost 100% of the time works fine, but occasionally those nuts are over-tapped too much, or the coating thickness on the hot-dip galvanized bolt is thinner than expected, and we have too much clearance. And the fact that these fasteners get tightened to a very high level can lead to thread stripping. And as a matter of fact, that is the recent email that I got that brought this topic up. A very gnarly picture of these stripped. These were actually tension control bolts. And when that happens, you're in a quandary because you have to get the thing off somehow. The nut's not going to come off no matter how much torque you put on it. You might get lucky and be able to snap the bolt. That's probably not going to happen. Now you got to get in there with some kind of a saw, a grinder, machining operation to extract that bolt, and that really sucks. In this particular case, I believe what the manufacturer may have done is used mechanical zinc hot dip galvanized TC bolts because you're not allowed to hot dip galvanize them. And they used hot dip galvanized nuts, which would be over tapped, and there was too much clearance. That's my theory on that. Another cause of thread stripping could be that we have a material defect, not a dimensional one. And the most common material defect is decarburization. Decarburization is caused by a heat treating error where we allow the carbon in the surface of the fastener to come out of the surface and go into the atmosphere of the furnace. And that's usually caused because we did not put a sufficient carbonized atmosphere in the furnace to keep things balanced. As a result, we lose carbon at the surface of the fastener, and carbon is in direct relationship to hardness and hardenability. So if we lose the carbon, we lose the hardness at the surface, and then the threads cannot handle the load. And this is usually evidenced first by they'll torque up before we get very much tension on them, high torque. If we take it apart, we'll notice that the threads actually bend a little bit. If you look at them on the comparator, they'll no longer be an even 60-degree threads with 30 on either side. The pressure flank will have bent. And that decarburization is always required to be tested for with all heat-treated fasteners and tapping screws that are heat-treated. We do a decarburization exam, which is a micro-examination, and we look for either visual evidence of decarburization or we can also indicate it with a micro hardness test. Now, there are some other weird causes of thread stripping that I probably should not go into because they're a little bit esoteric, but things like don't use impact wrenches. If you use a flange nut, you're less likely to have issues with thread stripping. If you use a reduced diameter body bolt where the body of the fastener is smaller than the root diameter of the threads, that will guarantee pretty much the bolt is going to break before the threads strip. That's why we see these kind of fasteners in critical applications such as racing engines and cam bolts and cylinder head bolts and piston rod bolts. Well, I did write an article years ago called The Cause, Cure, and Prevention of Thread Stripping. And if you'd like that article, let me know and I will be happy to email it to you. If you're troubleshooting the problem, check the thread geometry, check the thread condition. Sometimes some pretty serious thread lapse or discontinuities in the thread, nicks and such can cause thread stripping. Not very common. Usually it goes right over that. Check your tightening method and your torque. Make sure you don't have lubrication that's not supposed to be there. And if you do all that, you should be happy, healthy, and homeward bound with no risk of thread stripping. Well, this has been your Fastener Training Minute with Carmen Vertullo. I hope you learned something. Thanks for listening.
This is Kevin Chavis with Star Stainless Screw, and you are listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
So you two travel continuously. I see everywhere I go, coast to coast, and you're doing your own things, of course, but you always show up wherever I am, it seems like, and we always have great times. Let me ask you this, because you travel a lot more than I do. How far in advance are you planning your schedules out normally? You know, of course, you have these events that everybody knows about, but I mean, you do a lot of just day in, day out, traveling, meeting up with customers and stuff. How do you plan that all out?
I try to do it well in advance. And actually, it's funny that you say that we travel a lot, but we were traveling together last week. So, and I was in Canada the week before that. But I try to do it at least 3 weeks in advance because it gives, if I travel with Joe or someone else to go see customers, it gives everyone time to set up visits and things like that. And then, of course, you always want to try to plan ahead. That way you can, hopefully save some cost to the company you're traveling for too, especially for flights and hotels and things like that. So I always try to plan at least a month or so in advance, but most of mine are typically planned around industry events, and unless there's something that pops up.
Yeah, I'm the same. Industry events drives it. Fastener Training drives it. So if it's a class, I can plan that well in advance. For desert distribution, at least 3 weeks in advance. But some things come up. Luckily, my territory, I can get pretty quickly to where I need to be, even if it's a week out. But yeah, it seems like this fall, it's been week after week after week. 'Cause we're somewhere.
Yeah, it's been busy. I think I've got over 35 trips done this year for sure. So
Wow. You're hitting the big time, Tej.
something like that.
So before we turn the recorder on, you guys, as we were warming up, you guys were talking about something or other. I didn't know that you were actually doing business together, or are you working on a project? I mean, how does that roll? I knew you were friends, but I didn't know you were actually operating together. What's up? Or if you can divulge.
Yeah. Go ahead, Joe. You want to tell them?
Yeah, so I wear two hats. I help with FTI, but I'm also with Desert Distribution. We're a manufacturer's rep, and we represent Gobel. So I work with TJ at Gobel, and then we also represent Brikksen. And so I still have TJ and his wife. When he left Gobel, I'm like, does this mean I'm gonna miss Jana? And he's like, no, you're gonna keep Jana.
Yep.
So we work together for several years, and we'll continue to, because
Wait a sec. Does your wife work at Gobel?
No. And she just, I've had the pleasure and the ability for her to go to some of these events with me. And Joe met her, a few 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it was now. And so they've just been buddies ever since.
Okay,
So,
I misunderstood.
Yeah.
With Christian, she traveled quite a bit with me there at Gobel. And so just a tight knit group. That's, this fastener industry is always, to me,
We're
it's
all
been
one
very
family.
tight knit. It's like a big
Yeah.
family. So she doesn't work, but she definitely, I think, hopefully she helps with my relationships within the industry.
Yeah, she
I haven't heard anything negative. So, but if there is anything negative, I'll be sure and tell her that she should not listen to this podcast.
There could never be anything negative.
No.
I love TJ's wife.
Yeah, she's the boss.
Yeah. So that's how we met, and then TJ's also involved with Pac West, and he's joined us with Faster Training class. So we run in inner circles.
I definitely enjoy the being on the PacWest board and being able to help make a difference there as well. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, all these overlaps in the fastener industry. People who are in it for a few years begin to realize this, and it's amazing because it doesn't happen in very many industries that I know of. So let me ask you this then, guys. With these connections to Gobel, they just wrapped up their World Riveting Conference. I was looking at it. There were so many pictures on LinkedIn. Very, very impressive. DJ, you must have been patting your old buddies on the back after seeing those.
Yeah. I shot Christian a message on LinkedIn and on Facebook as well. But yeah, I'm super proud of him. That's Christian's done a fabulous job, and as well as the team there, Justin and several others, of course. And they've got a lot of good backing, and they've done a great job. The reps, Desert Distribution included, but all the reps for them have done a fantastic job pushing the products here in the U.S. And I think this has been a long time coming for them. So I wish them all the best in trying to do what they're doing and reshoring the rivets there in Germany. And hopefully that really lands here in the U.S. well.
I know a handful of their reps from the U.S. made it out there. I don't think I saw anyone from Desert Distribution. It was obviously a pretty big deal to travel all the way to Europe for this thing, but it was good to see that he brought people in from all around the world, and he had a big room full of people, so I was impressed.
That was very cool. I was really happy for him. That's the pictures are, when you hit it, tons of people there. I mean, and I guess they were from all over the world. So that's impressive. I'm proud of them.
Yeah, I think Marcel, he's always kind of go big or go home. So I think he looked like he really did a good job of putting that together. And not just him. I know that Elias played a large role in that, and I'm sure several others too. I'm not connected to them anymore, but it looked fantastic. There's no doubt they will probably knock it out of the park.
Yeah, they've had a lot of growth too. I was in a
Yeah.
presentation with Christian, and it was funny listening to him. He's like, "When I joined the company, it grew 3,200%," and I was
Yeah.
like, "Holy
Yeah.
cow!"
Yeah. I got to be a part of some of that. And I'll tell you,
Yeah,
Christian will work circles around many, many people. So he has no quit. So, that company owes Christian a lot.
yeah. No, but you were a big part of that too. You
Yeah, I was,
treated it a lot. Yeah,
again, I left there on good terms. It's no big deal at all. And I want them to be successful. And if I ever get a chance to throw Goebel a bone for some rivets, I'll definitely do it.
yeah. Our events are just getting bigger and bigger. They're now world renowned.
Yeah, Christian's a man of few words in many cases, but don't underestimate the man.
Yeah, he's always thinking.
Yep.
What's the most surprising thing that ever came up with Christian when you were first getting to know him a little bit, TJ? I know what it was for me, but what was the kind of the revelation moment when you're like, oh, I kind of am starting to get this guy?
When he told me that he owned a Harley Davidson, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. But I've known Christian for, I don't know, a long time. I mean, we go back to the oil and gas days. So probably 15 or almost, at least 15 years.
Okay. So that's how he looped you in then when he was looking for a good man.
He found me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, to me, when I first saw that he was sleeved up, I was shocked because he hit it very well. And then all of a sudden one day he showed up, I might have been at the Tough Mudder, and, he's just like, flashing that ink, and I couldn't believe it. He just didn't seem like the kind of guy,
He's got a good story behind all of it. I've had the pleasure of listening to some of them for sure. So he's got good stories behind, that part of it doesn't surprise me at all, actually. That he would just put some
story behind each one.
That's correct. Yeah. I mean, he's a thinker. So, it doesn't surprise me at all that he has a story behind each one. But it looks great. It's not for me, but it looks great. He did it. He did well with it. So
Yeah. Well, so now I have to quiz him on the stories.
There's a lot of guys out there now that have ink, and a lot of it, believe it or not, is fastener related. Years ago, early on in the podcast, when tattoos were much less socially acceptable, I guess, it was still a little stigmatized. Now it's, fourth graders have them, but, and Sunday school teachers, but in those days it was still a little edgy. And we actually did an episode. Geez, I'd have to go back and look, but it was like episode, let's just say 25, Screw Tattoo. And we were challenging people, in Vegas to go and just have an impromptu fastener related tattoo. And I forgot what the ploy was going to be, but
Did
I remember.
Anyone take you up?
Well, there was some threats, and ultimately people did get tattoos. We never really formalized it or anything, but I remember having a lot of fun with it. But fast forward to today, and there's a lot of thread ink out there. You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is.
I am not one of them, although I did try in college on a bachelorette party, and we all decided to get tattoos. And the guy was like, "Your ladies are way too drunk," so they sent us home. So I'm still without tattoo.
So to this day, do you thank that guy?
Yeah. I would entertain a family tattoo. Like we all get it, but it has to be in a really inconspicuous, like on my ankle or something. What about you guys? Do you both have tattoos?
I do. Yeah, I do. I've got a few. I think I've got 4, maybe.
Well, you're a U.S. Marine, TJ. It's almost required.
Yeah, I guess so. I think most people that join do end up getting a tattoo of some sort to to brand themselves.
Yeah, that's one of those things that completely justifies ink. And me, I have no reason whatsoever. And what is there a term for guys like me who are just au natural?
Well, it's old school, man. It's old school.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's great. Jake Davis has got a really great one on his arm that's got a lot of thought behind it. He's got a really nice one.
When you were talking about fastener tattoos, he's the first person that popped in my mind because he recently got one, didn't he? And it was it's for is it his mom or his dad?
To commemorate his dad, I think. Yeah.
Yes, I love that.
And I think he's going to add a little something more to it. When I was talking to him a couple of weeks back, I think that he was going to add something else to it. But it's very tasteful, and it's got a great story behind it. So to each their own,
Yep.
One of the classics is John Riddell with his Solution Man and his various Solution Man related tattoos that he got as the company kept growing. And I think after he got the giant one with Solution Man on his calf,
Oh gosh.
he
I did
got
not
an
know
offer to
that.
buy the whole thing. So
Wow.
That's dedication.
I think that's great.
there was a thing with John Butler, too, because as many people know, John Butler is or was the voice of Solution Man there on our spots. And John Riddell had promised Butler that he would pay for the tattoo, and that was all in the works. Before that happened, I believe, is when Linfast came and bought Solution. And I don't know if Cool Hand ever wound up getting that ink or not. We'll have to ask him. I don't think he did, but I'm not positive. Do either of you guys know?
No, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that was a close call. I don't know if it would be a regretful thing, because of that or not, because he's still the voice of, but we'll have to ask Cool Hand next time we see him.
Yeah.
Now, he would be a great panelist on Fastener Match, don't you think? If we ever do that again?
Yes, he would be a good one.
That is funny that so many people I was afraid no one would remember it. And then I remember match. What was it? Now, see, I don't even remember the name of it.
Match game.
Yeah, the match. I remember the show. And then I was like, does that make me old? Am I the Betty White of the show?
Hey, Betty White was cool.
Mallory, cute Mallory, it was Suzanne Summers because she's so darling. And I was Betty White.
That's awesome.
I didn't think of it like that at all, Joe. There were a lot of really knockout stars on that, and you were one of them. I can't name any of them, but you were not Betty White. Of course, in those days, Betty White was like 28.
She still wasn't as cool as Suzanne Summers, but okay.
Now, was Farrah ever on there?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. It ran for a long time, though. It was on for like 8 years.
Yeah.
So a lot of different panelists. And for those of you who don't understand what we're talking about right here, we did the Fastener Match game in, what was that, August at the Midwest Fastener Association Fastener Week, the week with no vowels. And so we did a Fastener Match game really to fill up the lunchtime period. And Joe, you were one of the panelists, and Mallory from Advanced Components, Rich Cavoto, Charlie Kerr. Who am I missing? Jill Lewis.
Yeah. And
and
gosh,
Jake.
And Jake. No, was it Jake?
Yep.
Okay, front right. Yeah. But then also what made it fun was Matt DeLauder and you. I think you guys were actually the show. We were the sidekicks.
You guys were the foils. And Matt was Johnny Olson. He was fantastic.
Yeah, I liked the prize, the toaster.
Well, that was the consolation prize.
Yeah. But so were our answers, this is what I wasn't positive about. Were our answers supposed to be fastener related?
Well, they were supposed to match what the contestants wanted.
What they first thought.
Right.
Yeah.
So they got a point. The questions were predominantly fastener related, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
I had one in there about hydrogen embrittlement, of course.
Yeah. One about the son. The son's job was what was it? The daughter was dating I don't remember the question now, Eric. It had something to do with the sex bowl. That's all I remember.
Well, it's match game, so you got to get something a little off color in there. It is a little, it's PG-13, put it that way. You weren't offended, were you, TJ?
No. It's pretty hard to offend me. I'm usually the offender.
Does that mean you're a panelist next time?
I'd be happy to be a panelist, but somebody's going to have to sign off on a waiver.
Well, we'll talk to Francesca about that. All right. Who's the dream panel then, you guys? Now, we already got Don Chan that is saying he wants a slot, so we got 5 left.
Same show?
Same form. If it was the same format, who would be the dream panel? I'm not saying we're going to lock it in here, but let's just throw out some nominees.
All right.
Of course, I had Traveling Salesman lined up for it early on, but he had to bag out because I think he got a customer visit or something that he had to do in lieu of that. But there's a lot of colorful personalities in this industry. Who'd you like to see up there?
Do you know Mickey Matheny?
Lay it on us.
So Mickey Matheny, he's an independent rep down in Florida. He's got some very colorful stories. So I know that he would be on fire. He would be on fire for it. Yeah. Matt Giles from
Oh,
Brikksen
Matt. Yeah, Matt would be great.
He's got a really colorful personality as well.
Yeah, Matt would be very good.
I like that guy. I had a
do
great
too.
time meeting him at Brisket Fest, and I got to know him a little bit better since then, and he's a great choice.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to put his name in the hopper.
Yeah, he's got that, I don't know, that Matthew McConaughey voice or whatever. I don't know what it is. He doesn't look like Matthew McConaughey, but he doesn't act like him. But he's got that Tennessee Southern voice, and he makes fun of himself.
And he does always have that smile on his face.
He does, yeah. Yeah. He would be a really good one for sure.
You need some women on there, though. Let's see.
Kelly Lehman, that would be a good one.
Oh, Kelly Lehman would be great. Yep.
I would love to get her out to a Midwest event. Of course, there's no lock with the Midwest either. We could actually pull this off anywhere that they roll out the welcome mat. I don't know. We haven't really had that welcome mat extended, but you never know.
Well, are you members of PacWest?
If you're not, we should talk about this.
Well, we crash their association meetings occasionally.
That's what I thought. I've seen you out there at the meetings over the years, Eric.
I usually just walk in, nobody asks, so they hand me a name badge and it's cool. So
yeah, and you and Traveling Salesman have wandered in because I remember you in Scottsdale. We ran into each other. I remember seeing you working out. Oh, gosh, that was a long, long time ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've run into each other at various gyms around the country.
I know.
We ran into each other, I think, one time at the Trump Tower, right in the gym there. That was a really nice place. Yeah, various gyms.
Yeah, various gyms. Typically where there's an event.
Well, you were not going to find me in those things.
You used to. I remember when you were training for, I remember picking you up for a sales call and you were like, I got up and I ran a mile this morning. So what is the plan for next year with Mud Run? Is there any kind of event with Fastener Week?
Well, we're waiting for a ruling from GQ and Valdez because I think they're a little bit hung up on the timing because the Mud Run is a little later than they'd like to have Fastener Week. So I think they're deliberating about whether to move the thing back a week, and that makes it closer to Labor Day. But we'll figure that out eventually, and I think there will be some kind of a race again. But boy, those first 3 years, they were something else. This year was a little bit of a different thing. It was still fun, but it wasn't a mud race.
It was fun, yeah, but it definitely was not a mud race.
Even you would have appreciated it, Joe.
Hey, it's not that I don't want to do it. It's always been, it's just too long to be away from my family.
We know you have triplets to tend to, and you can't be away for extended periods. You do a lot. You can't do it all.
I have my own fun mud run at home. But it's not that I don't want to participate and join you guys in something great like that. I would love to. It's, it just extends it too long.
I think they might be old enough now to do it with you.
Well, so we did do one here last summer, and one of my daughters did do it with me. We did the mud run in Colorado Springs. So you're right, they are. But then I'd have to fly them to Chicago, and I don't want to do that. So.
Well, you should connect with Jill Lewis because her little munchkins were participating. I think they have like a kids version for moms with younger kids, and I'm not sure what the details are. So maybe loop in with her when you get a chance.
That's a good idea.
But that's coming down the pike. So there will be a lot of discussion on this podcast and elsewhere when something is known about the next mud race coming up. But we got a lot of people that were wondering where it was, and I hope we didn't lose momentum. It was a much different group this year. It was still a very good and lively group, but different. So we'll see what happens. And we'll be running around the fastener industry like crazy people until we can't do so anymore. What do you got lined up in the near future, Joe, that you can tell us about, either with this Desert Distribution or the Fastener Training Institute? Where should people keep an eye out for you?
I will be everywhere, whether you like it or not. Let's see. We've got coming up PacWest After Hours. I'll be up there in the Bay Area early November. Then I will be in Cleveland for Fastener Training Week. And I just chatted with Mike Robinson maybe an hour ago, and we're going to coordinate a joint networking cocktail party with NCFA and FTI. So stay tuned for that, Eric. You'll probably be there. I hope you're there. And then we've got San Diego and FDA in October. I'm saying these out of order. And then I've got I have to go to Buffalo. That's for work. Pretty much pick a month and pick a part of the country and you'll find me.
All right, jumping Joe Morris. She's going to be somewhere. And if you don't see her around, then look in the hotel gym because that's where she might be hanging out.
Or the bar.
TJ, how about you? You got a full calendar coming up too.
Yeah. I'll be a couple of weeks from now. I'll be in San Diego at the Executive Summit for the NFDA. Then I think I'll be the week of November 6th. I think I'll be in Elk Grove Village for the scholarship awards and elections up there. I think I'll go up there for that.
That's MWFA?
Yeah. And then there's a holiday party for Pac West. That's in December 11th, I think. And that's in the LA area. I'll be there for that. And I think that's, for the most part, my normal travel schedule. There's usually a couple of things that pop up in there between all that.
All right. Well, I'm glad to hear that it's not overly brutal, so you'll still be able to focus on the important things in life, such as hunting.
That's right. Yes, hunting. Opening bow season for me was this past weekend, and I didn't go, but that was because it was just too hot. So, but I'm going this weekend. As a matter of fact, I think I need to put in for a vacation day tomorrow to go.
Well, you sent me that trail cam photo last week, and you got my mouth watering, man. You got some huge animals down there.
Yeah, some really big hogs. And actually, we had a couple of shots of some really nice whitetail, which I'm anxious to go look at. I don't think I'm going to shoot any of the ones that I've seen so far, but I'm excited just to get out in the woods. So I enjoy it. My kids enjoy it. It's a good time. Decompression.
Well, that's great. Keep me posted. All right, kids, this has been fun. We successfully avoided all serious topics, kept it somewhat predominantly fastener related, and I think our work here is done.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for the invite.
Anytime, you guys. I always think of you when I think of fun. TJ McFarland with Brikksen, Joe Morris, Fastener Training Institute and Desert Distribution. See you at the next one, guys, and we'll see you, everyone listening, right after this break. Thanks for clicking in. As always, it's Fully Threaded.
Coming to you across the vast audio radiance of the internet, it's the voice of the FCH Sourcing Network. Fully Threaded Radio.
With Star Stainless, our personalized service and nationwide network of distribution centers allows you to order rivets, hose clamps, and fasteners from one source. Star continues to be your one-stop shop to consolidate vendors, reduce transactions, and save on shipping costs. Choose Star Stainless for a comprehensive inventory that meets all your hardware needs. Star Stainless Screw Company is a division of Linfast Solutions Group.
Goebel Fasteners has launched a brand new line of high-strength structural blind rivets that are used in heavy truck and trailer, railroad, solar, metal building construction, and other industries that require a vibration-resistant fastener for strong, long-lasting installations. Available in steel, stainless steel, and aluminium ranging from 3x16-inch diameter up to 3x8-inch diameter, these structural rivets are a solid solution for a variety of applications. Goebel Fasteners, the leading rivet source.
Hi, this is Deb with 3Q Inc., your source for a wide variety of U.S.-made parts from the heart of the fastener industry. You're listening to Brian and Eric on Fully Threaded Radio.
Well, I don't know about where TJ is down in Texas, but up here in Northeast Ohio, it's that time of the season where you have to pay extra attention for the deer going a little crazy. You know, everybody in the forest is getting a little frisky, and I'm not talking about just the hunters. You know, it's that time. So be careful when you're driving around up in the North Country, everybody. Just be careful in general. How about that? Hope you enjoyed today's episode and this compressed new format. We'll be doing a lot more tinkering. I plan to do a lot more special reports too. We had a lot of positive feedback on that recent special episode we did with Larry Stevens. If you haven't heard that, go back, check it out. Of course, J.R. Prowl was in part 1 of 205. Thanks to everybody who was on that one and this one. Joe Morris, TJ McFarland, and of course, Carmen Vertullo. Thanks to you also for listening in, everyone. And of course, the title sponsors of Fully Threaded Radio, Brighton Best International, tested, tried, true. Brighton Best. Goebel Fasteners, quality the first time. Go Goebel. And Star Stainless, right off the shelf. It's Star. Fully Threaded is also sponsored by Buckeye Fasteners, BTM Manufacturing, Eurolink Fastener Supply Service, Fastener Technology International, InSequel Software, J. Franco, Solution Industries, 3Q Inc., Volt Industrial Plastics, and Worth Industry North America. The email address is ftr@fullythreaded.com. Your input is welcome, especially now that we're gerrymandering the format. Who knows where it'll wind up, hopefully in a place that makes it even more conducive. And in that vein, it'd help us out a lot if you share Fully Threaded Radio with your friends and business associates. Our best way of expanding is through word of mouth. As you know, Brian doesn't spend too much time out in social media, and I'm very limited, so thanks for passing the word. Thanks for clicking in. That's going to put this one in the can. This is Eric Dudas from semi-rural Northeast Ohio. Get out there and sell some screws. We'll talk to you next time.
Fully Threaded Radio is a production of Fasteners Clearinghouse.